Okay, hello and welcome again to another cooking session. This is our second not cut session. Today we're going to do something which is a little bit seasonal. So we're going to use Hock's buns, and we're going to do a British classic, which is bread and butter pudding, but using hot cross buns. So we'll do this in two sections. We'll show you how to make the base. We'll obviously pop it in the oven, and then we'll come back when the product's cooked, and I'm going to make you a really nice custard to go with that as well, so you can see how to do that at the same time. So first of all, we're going to start with the Miller pod. What we need to do with the Miller pod is we just chop it down the middle. And you've already seen I've just started this process. We open up the vanilla pod. This vanilla is obviously one of the most expensive spices in the world. I've got a little question for you all while I'm doing this, and that is to say, you just need to tell me what you believe is the most expensive spice in the world. So there is a spice that's more expensive than this, and it comes from a flour. Right, so what I'm going to do with the pod that's left is I'm going to use that for my custard for later on, but what I want in here is all this good stuff here. So this is going straight into the egg mix. Now in the egg mix at the moment, I've got 4 whole eggs cracked and 1 egg yolk. So that's all gone in there. The little ingredient I like to use is nutmeg. So we're going to pop a pinch of nutmeg into there as well. And just to show you how we separate the yolk and the white, simply like this, I'm going to crack the white into it because we don't want the white for this. Just simply break it, separate it out, and then crack the yolk in there like that. So we use the shell to actually take the yolk out. I'm sure you've seen that a lot of times, but that's effectively how we separate it. The yolk's going to go into there, and I'm going to just get rid of that. Right, so what we've got now is we've got obviously the 1 yolk in there and the remainder with the nutmeg and the eggs in there. So just to let you know again, that's 4 whole eggs and 2 egg yolk. Right, next, into our mix goes 75 grams of caster sugar. 75 grams of caster sugar going into there. What we then need to do is we then just need to whisk this through. So now we need to whisk this for quite a while so we get that vanilla flavour and that nice nutmeg flavour going through. I don't really know why people don't use nutmeg more in this, because it just works so well with egg custard, as you know, the old traditional egg custard tarts and the like. So that's that mixture going in so far. And then into that now, we add our milk. So we've got 400 millilitres of milk. And 200 millilitres of double cream. This gives its real richness. So this is the mix in its entirety. So again, so we're making sure that's nicely mixed. And now we're going to just check our oven. It should be between 160 and 170. Electric, about gas mark 4. Because we don't want to cook this. You can actually cook this product in a water bath, but I'm going to cook it out of the water bath, but nice and slow. So next stage, now we've got our mixture done, is we're going to just butter our rolls. Now I've pre-cooked these. These are really nice quality hot cross buns. So these are a mixed fruit version. And the way we're going to do this is just open the buns up like this. Just separate them out. And just liberally butter them. So you'll see this quite a lot in restaurants. If you go in, people using spoons rather than knives, because it actually works a lot better when you're actually wanting to do this at pace. So, the last one now. So what we want to do now is obviously make sure that we keep the lids for the top, because we want it to look exactly how we want. So what I'm using for today's product is a deep Pyrex dish. You can use a more presentable dish if you want, but I want you to see how the product cooks. It goes through. So what I'm going to do is just overlap these all the way around. So we've got 6 bases. I just want to make sure I'm using all the bases. So that's our lids there. And that's our bases. So 4, 5, and 6 there. So what we do is press those down, and then 50 grams of sultanas over the top. So you make sure we've got plenty of fruit on the top. Now, one of the issues that people do have with this is they put the sultanas on top of the bread, and that actually then burns. We don't want to do that, but what we want to do is just get this nicely arranged. So what I'm going to do is put 5 around the sides and then 1 in the centre. Then just push that down slightly. And now for my egg mix. So the egg mix now goes on top. Now what we want to do is once we've poured it on, we're going to ensure that that bread is really soaked in. Once you get to that level, if you find that it's just come to the top, that is probably enough. So what we want to then do is just squeeze that down so it soaks up all the ready. Now I've used hot cross buns a little bit stale, so they soak up all of that mixture. Right, so going into the oven now. That's going to be between 30 and 40 minutes, as I say, gas mark 6. And then we'll come back out and we'll finish that off in 30 minutes time and make some custard to go with it. Back to our bread and butter pudding. Hopefully it's more or less cooked now. So what I'm going to do is make the glaze, which is effectively apricot jam, 60 grams, which I'm just going to put into the microwave. Let's start for 30 seconds and see how we go. This is going to go over the top to give it a really nice glaze. And what I'm going to do to add some more richness, I'm going to add a shot of whiskey into the apricot jam as well. So that should taste great. That's hopefully what we want to do. So we've got everything together here. We've got our pastry brush. So as soon as this is melted, we'll get the whiskey in there and we'll give that a really nice glaze over the top. As you can see, so there we go. We've got that sort of slightly turning to liquid now, which is what we want. So 1 shot of whiskey. You could use brandy, you could leave it out completely, but this gives it a really nice, rich flavour. So that's our apricot glaze. Now you'll notice when this comes out, all that mixture is soaked up. There we go. So you can see how that looks. But obviously, what we want to do is make sure that we glaze it, we make it look as good as we possibly can. So what I'm doing now, just going over this with that lovely rich apricot glaze. So this makes the topping really stand out next to what you would get if you were just using bread. And also what you've got to remember, these really nice quality hot cross buns have already got the fruit and all the seasoning and the cinnamon and everything infused in them, so much better than using pure bread. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop that back in the oven. But now I'm just going to turn that oven off. We don't need that on. So that's just going to set in the oven. While I'm doing that, or while that's setting, I'm going to make custard. So using a pint of milk, which actually has cream within it, so it's actually 3/4 pint of semi-skim milk and the remainder made up of double cream. I've dropped the pod that we were using, the vanilla pod, into the milk, and we're just going to boil that. While that's happening, what I'm going to do is take my whisk. What I've got in here is 3 egg yolks. So how I split the egg yolks earlier, I've got 3 egg yolks into here. Into the egg yolks goes 25 grams of caster sugar, and just to thicken this slightly, 25 grams of corn flour. Now this is just so we get more of a custard than a creme anglaise. So the base is still the same, rather than having this product which is very thin and more French. We want to get a proper traditional custard. So I'm mixing that initially quite carefully. What we need to get is we need to get it really well mixed, very even. And so we can transfer some of the milk into this and then back out into the pan. The important thing when you're making custard is you don't allow the mixture to boil, because if the mixture boils, then we're in trouble because we're going to get a curdled product. So what I'm going to do now is, just while that milk is boiling, you just remove the vanilla pod. We want the seeds, we don't want the pod. So the pod comes out, drop that in there. And what I will do now is just take some of this milk and pour it into, just whisking as we go. There you go. So what we're effectively doing, starting our custard back. And then you can sieve this back into the pan, but it's not 100% necessary to do that. Back in is then just drop that back into the pan. Like that, so we've got everything off there. And now I just need to move this quite carefully. I'm going to drop the gas right down. And again, this is a tough non-stick pan. But as soon as that starts to thicken, we'll turn that off. Because as I say, what we don't want to do is we don't want to curdle it. So just carefully stirring through. The question I asked earlier in the video was, what's the most expensive spice in the world? It actually is saffron, which comes from the crocus, and that is pound for pound more expensive than gold. So the stamens of the crocus, so often used in Indian cooking for colouring things like rice. Right, we're nearly there with that custard now. I'm just going to give it a little bit more. You have to be very careful when you're doing this, so you don't take it too far. Obviously it has to slightly thicken, but what you don't want to happen is once it goes too far, it will curdle, and that's where you'll get the separation of the milk and the eggs together. Now we're going to bring our pudding out. There we go. Lovely glazed bread and butter pudding. The next step is for us just to cut through this. So just make sure that we're absolutely perfect. What this should be, to be perfect, is it should not be doughy. It should have that lovely, rich custard running through it. I can feel that is exactly what we want. Now you can rest this for a little moment if you like, just so everything sets. This is quite hot at the moment, and those great flavours will just continue to mix through there. There it is, as I say. Leaving it to set just a little bit more would help, but you can see how lovely and rich that looks. And it's just slowly starting to weep a little bit. So we then finish with some icing sugar, strawberry, and perfect here. So okay, beautiful consistency. There we go. That is our Easter hot cross bun pudding.